Hey everybody, before we jump into the video, we just wanted to let you know that we've launched our very own Patreon account. We've released our very first Patreon only video, and if you'd like to support the channel and see what project we're working on next before everyone else does, head on over to patreon.com/richandkirsten. The link is in the description below. Good morning from our new home here on the Liard River, and what a beautiful spot this was. We are very far in the north of BC, and today, unfortunately, our Alaska Highway journey ends because we're not allowed in the Yukon and we're not allowed in Alaska. So that creates a bit of a problem to continue the highway. We are gonna be in the Yukon for maybe 30, 40, 50 kilometers before we get on the Cassiar Highway and start heading south down through the interior of BC. We kind of just blew through the Alaska Highway a little faster than I would have liked, but for good reason. The weather here is highly unpredictable. One minute it's clear, the next minute it clouds over with these really ugly black clouds, and then it starts raining on you. And today, all I see is cloud cover as far as the eye can see, which means we're probably gonna have another day of bad weather. Right now, I'm boiling water to make some coffee while Kirsten does all the work inside of the van.
I think that was the best spot we have had so far on this trip, and it might be the best spot we're going to get. I was really hoping we would see the wood buffalo that they had said might cross the river, but I think the water was just a little bit too high for them to cross over the river. We are almost at the apex of our journey. We are nearing in on the farthest place we're going to be from home. It would take us over 48 hours of straight driving to get home from here, and it's over 5,000 kilometers on the road. Point to point, it's a little bit shorter, but unfortunately you have to follow where the roads go. And it's funny because it would only be about a 5-hour flight from here, so that would be a little bit more practical, but we're in our home. Hi, buddy. Oh, and there's a calf. Get the baby calf. We've completed our safari of this trip. We have finally seen bison. We've seen signs for kilometers and kilometers warning us of bison herds, and oh my god, this herd is massive. Although I don't know what a normal bison herd would be, but there's gotta be at least 20 or 30 of them, and they're little baby calves. They're so cute, but they are so big. Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. We're with the COVID response team here in the Yukon. Are you aware that if you're going to be spending any time in the Yukon, you have to self-isolate for 2 weeks? Your plans are...
We're heading to the Cassiar,
Heading to the Cassiar.
and then we're gonna go south back into BC.
Okay, so we'll give you a 24-hour pass. We'll just fill out a declaration for that. I will tell you right now that there was a mudslide on the Cassiar. It's down by Bell 2.
Okay.
So that was 2 days ago. So they're assessing it right now. So I'm thinking it should be open in the next day or so.
One of the most unique and interesting things that I've been excited for on this trip is to come here and see the sign forest in the Yukon. And it's essentially just literally a forest where people have come and put signs from where they're from. I was hoping to get out and actually explore and take a look to see what signs I could find here, but Mother Nature had her own ideas. And that seems to be a bit of a theme so far along the Alaska Highway. On the bright side, we finally got cell service for the first time in over 48 hours. I honestly didn't think the Alaska Highway would be such a dead zone for cell service. It just goes to show how reliant we've become on our cell phones and connectivity in general. As quickly as it came, our time in the Yukon is sadly over, and it kind of hurts to come this close and to not be able to do everything that we want to do. But of course we understand the health and safety concerns. The Cassiar Highway is an adventure to say the least. And on this highway, there are no alternative routes. You either make it all the way down to southern BC, or you turn around and head all the way back up the Alaska Highway. We're gonna take a risk here, but if we get there and the mudslide is not gonna be cleared for another 5 or 6 days, we're gonna have no choice but to turn around and drive 24 hours all the way back to Prince George along the Alaska Highway. That's not something I'm looking forward to. Driving through a huge stretch of boreal forest that looks like it was totally devastated by wildfire. All these trees are just blackened and they're just tree stems. And it's kilometer after kilometer after kilometer of this winding road just directly through the forest. And all you're seeing, other than some water sources and a little bit of fresh new trees, are these old dead trees. The 2018 wildfire destroyed a lot of this part of the country.
While we're stopped here, I just took a quick moment to pull out the milepost book that we were given, and it looks like even if we're stuck at Bell 2, there'll be lots of things for us to do over the next couple days. It's nice to know that there might be an adventure or two for us no matter what. After driving for about an hour and a half through the boreal forest, we seem to just take one turn and we are suddenly back in the mountains. That can only mean one thing: great hikes, great views, and epic places to visit. We've got about 130 kilometers left to go until we reach where we'll be staying for the night. We are going to be staying at another recreation site because we had such a good experience with them last time. There are a couple more communities on the Cassiar Highway compared to the Alaska Highway. One of them is Good Hope Lake and the other is Jade City. Good Hope Lake was closed to tourists and incoming traffic because of COVID, and Jade City was still open to tourists, but funnily enough, they actually don't have public toilets, even on a regular year.
First time since we left Ontario to come on this road trip, we decided to get takeout. We've been on the road for about 6 or 7 hours with about an hour and a half break in the Yukon in there. We're both getting pretty hungry, and we went through the small town of Dease Lake, British Columbia, and we decided why not try a local delicacy. This is a bison burger. And I want to preface this by saying we've shown almost exclusively vegetarian options on the road. We're not vegetarians. We do try to eat vegetarian as much as possible. Mostly it's just about how good eating vegetarian makes us feel. We're not strict vegetarians by any stretch. Bison and elk are on the menu here, as is venison. It's very popular, and I'm hungry. Do you think it's going to taste like beef, Kirsten?
I think it's going to taste like beef.
Mm-hmm. It tastes a lot like beef. I would say it tastes kind of like a drier version of beef. Fries are really good. It's got a bit of a distinct flavor, but I would say it's like 90% similar with beef. We've come across a couple of these streams with these signs now, and I'm assuming this is where they have trout runs throughout the year, but this one is by far the most rapid and crazy looking river that we've come across. The rapids are moving at such an aggressive pace, it honestly looks like a place that might be fun for whitewater rafting. I don't think it'd be safe to go for a dip in there though. Oh, the water is absolutely freezing too.
Another long day of driving. We've made it to a resting spot for tonight and I need to go to sleep.
The Cassiar Highway has been awesome so far. I've been totally blown away by the views. The landscape has changed like 4 or 5 times. And with any luck, tomorrow morning we will be standing on top of a mountain.
It sounds like the mudslide's been cleared up and people are allowed to drive through, and we did see a lot of RVs and trucks on our last little stretch of the drive, which is good for us because it means that we get to continue along. The bugs are bad as always here, so it is time for us to sign off for today, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
If you wanted to know how to make a grown man cry, this sign is how you do it. I don't understand. When we were looking at All Trails, there was a person who said they did this hike like a month and a half ago and mentioned nothing about it being closed. The First Nations people are deathly afraid of getting COVID in their territory because they don't really have the health infrastructure to deal with it. I get that. I'm gonna play by the rules. What can you do? I think Kirsten might have found an alternative plan for the day. We're gonna see what Lake Kinaskin Provincial Park has to offer. Everything's up in the air right now.
Just trying to make the most of a unfortunate situation. It looks so cool. Look at this. I want to see this. I mean, these like mountains are insane. I've never seen like such colorful mountains in Canada before. But it's so far away.
And we are not prepared for that hike.
No.
I honestly wish we had done 100 times more research for the Cassiar Highway because it seems like everywhere you turn there's incredible lakes, beautiful places to camp. This is Lake Kinaskin Provincial Park. I see why you'd want to camp here 100%. Looks like it's great for fishing, great for boating. The water's spotless. I'm just taking this in right now. Like, it's spectacular. I'm out on a dock right out on the water. It's so peaceful. Oh man.
I think if I had my pick of it, I would stay here for like 2 weeks, the maximum time. I mean, who needs a cottage when you can come to places like this and you can change it up? It's nice to find a little hidden gem like this, although with the locals it doesn't seem like a hidden gem. I think they love it here.
Lake Kinaskin Provincial Park is breathtaking. And we met a friendly worker who's actually from Dryden, Ontario. His name is Richard, just like me, and he's given us some very valuable information. The mudslide is open for another hour and a half and we're about 45 minutes away, so we need to make it there as fast as possible to make sure we don't get stuck. There's another mudslide on the junction to Stewart, which is disappointing, but I guess it's made up our travel plans for the rest of the day and for the next couple days anyways.
I know this isn't the day that we planned. We certainly aren't going to be doing any hiking because we have to boogie down through the mudslide. Avalanche path, it's literally known. After an hour's wait, we have made it past the mudslide. We are in about a 30-car convoy. I think we are all pretty thankful to be moving on with our day. It's about 1 o'clock now, which means it is lunchtime. So I think our next stop is going to have to be a stop for lunch, and then maybe we'll get to do a little bit of sightseeing before finding camp for the night.
Crushing greens, eh?
Having a snack, having a salad.
Gotta make sure you get your greens for the day. Hey, Mr. Bear. He's just totally unfazed by me. He's just, I just want to eat. We just stopped for lunch at the Mezzadin Lake Provincial Park, and we stopped for the Lunch of Champions. We used the day use area, which we are allowed to use, to boil some water and make some noodles and have instant noodles for lunch. We are getting close to the end of the Cassiar Highway, but we have one more thing we want to see, and it's called the Salmon Ladder. It's where bears go when they're hungry to catch the salmon that are swimming upstream to try and make it back to the ocean. As it turns out, you don't even need to go to the salmon run to finally see a grizzly bear. We saw one. They're beautiful animals, and you can tell it's a grizzly bear, not necessarily from its brown fur, but that big hump behind its neck. They are kind of scary looking. I don't want to see one in the bush when it's mad at us.
Sadly, no salmon and no bears, although it does say that it's supposed to be here between July and September, so maybe we're just a little unlucky this time.
Well, Well, we just got off the Cassiar Highway. It's raining here, and what more fitting end could there possibly be to our Alaska Highway or our Cassiar Drive? We finally got back into some self-service. We looked at the forecast, and the weather isn't supposed to get any better for like the next week in pretty much any of the communities we visited.
As much as we're not really fair weather seekers, it's really hard in the van to not be a fair weather seeker because we have to cook outside. I think we're making the right decision by moving on rather than just trying to wait out the bad weather.
I learned a lot about not just the communities of northern BC, but also about our van build and about us as well. And a lot of the things that we like to do does require at least some basic windows of good weather.
The most beautiful parts ran from Bell 2 all the way to the north in Watson Lake. It's incredible seeing the way people live up there. It's such a quiet lifestyle, and to them, big communities are maybe 600-700 people. We think that small communities are like 10, 15, 20,000 people.
Yeah.
So I think we had our own expectations put in check on, how people live here.
We are driving the Yellowhead Highway east right now. We are in Hazelton. We're going to be heading further east towards Prince George. The mountain ranges here look incredible as well, but checking the forecast, they're calling for like 6, 7, 8 days straight of rain here as well. Anyways, we have decisions to make. We have food to eat. Thank you for watching to this point. I'm hungry. I want food. We'll see you guys somewhere along the road for an adventure in the next video. I'm sure we're gonna find a place that has better weather so we can actually do stuff like outside the van instead of just pointing the camera out the front window. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.